Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to yoga with me, Anna. Yeah, so we were just having a little bit of sound trouble, so I hope you can all hear me. I think you can. So I've got David who's going to be looking after the comments, and he can read me some out. So how many people have we got watching at the moment? 107. Wow, it's probably probably the biggest yoga class I've ever taught. So that's great. Hello, Mark. Welcome. Hello. Neve from Dublin. That's great. Welcome. Hello. So yeah, we're going to make a start now because well, it's just gone 12. Or maybe another time if you're somewhere else in the world. But yeah, so I'll just say a few things and then we'll get going. So this is the first full day of our big online summer retreat. So I'm sure lots of you are tuning in as part of that retreat. So really, really warm welcome, especially if it's your first time practicing yoga online, then yeah, I really, really want to welcome you to this class. Yeah, I just wanted to say a couple more things. So if it is your first time practicing online or with me or all together, then I do sort of take it easy, and don't worry if you find some things a little bit hard. That's okay. It doesn't mean that something's gone wrong. If you've got sort of pre-existing health conditions, or injuries, then just be really, really mindful and know that I can't see you, and there's a lot of you. So yes, I can't sort of tailor the class for everybody individually. You know, it's sort of obvious, but yes. So do listen to your own body. I'll try to give options and modifications as appropriate, but you are your own best teacher. Yeah. And yeah, so if you've got a mat, then that's great. But if not, then a blanket should also be okay. And if you've got a kind of cushion or blocks, then that can be really useful as well, just to help bring the ground a bit closer up to you. Yeah. And I think that the next thing I want to say kind of leads on to the theme of the class, the theme of today's class, which is about becoming whole. Yeah. And I think the first way that you can encourage yourself to, well, let's say be fully present in this practice, or as fully as you can, is to commit to putting your phone away and closing all your other tabs, and keeping them shut and keeping your phone off until the end of class. So if you were in a yoga class here at the London Buddhist Centre, you wouldn't have the option to look at your phone or to check your computer. And I do encourage you to help yourself create conditions that are conducive to your practice. Yeah? So that's one way that you can start to become whole. Because I think, well, for me, when I'm at my most sort of scattered, when my energies are scattered, it might be, well, sort of mentally, I'm sort of thinking about several different things at once. And then also physically with the body, I'm like half writing a text, half, cooking my lunch or whatever it is. Well, it doesn't make for a very satisfying sort of existence, does it? If you're kind of split between lots of different things. So to the best of your ability today, I'm going to be encouraging you to really allow yourself to just be doing one thing, yeah, just to be gathering all of your energies around the practice of yoga, around connecting with your body, connecting with your breath, and yeah, just notice what happens to the mind when you do this. I've spent many a yoga class, many a yoga practice, completely somewhere else, completely distracted, planning, well, whatever it is, writing emails in my head. And so if you find yourself doing that, then do just notice that that's what's going on. And just do your best to gently encourage your attention back to whatever it is that we're focusing on. So we'll start with just a short seated meditation. So do sit in a way that is comfortable, that supports your intention to be kind of alert in the practice without being overly rigid. So if you're following the course this week, the retreat this week, chances are you're going to be meditating a lot. You're probably going to be meditating more than you do in your normal life, maybe exponentially more, or maybe just a bit more. And one of the things that yoga can do is to just help balance out the sitting posture, which can sometimes lead to slightly sore back, or sore shoulders, sore neck, sore legs. So that's kind of going to be the physical focus of the practice. Yeah. But for a moment, let's just collect ourselves in meditation. So just taking a moment to close your eyes. And just allowing, as it were, for your thoughts, your mind to kind of catch up with your body, to just arrive. And just start to connect in with the weight of the body on the ground, or whatever is supporting you. Notice the shape that your body is making. And just notice if there's any areas of tension that are fairly obvious to you. Maybe you're making a little frown, or the jaw's a bit clenched. Maybe the belly is held tight. So could you just ease the body into somewhere a little bit softer? Okay. And just begin to draw the meditation to a close. You can keep your eyes closed or open them, but make your way down onto your backs and have the knees bent, soles of the feet on the ground. So just rolling back. And when you get there, you can close the eyes again, or keeping a soft gaze up towards the ceiling. And just take a moment here, lengthen out through the back of your neck. And if it's not comfortable for you to lie like this, then you might like to take some kind of support underneath the back of your head. And if you're feeling like the knees or the legs are slightly quivering, then what you can do is bring the knees together. We'll be here for a short while. What I'd like you to do now is just to bring the hands onto the belly. You can place them one on top of the other. And relax the arms, relax the elbows. And just feel the breath down in the belly and the abdomen. Not trying to make the breath happen, just have confidence in the fact that your breath knows how to breathe itself. Just a couple more like this. Just following the thread of the breath. Good. And then just release the arms down alongside the body. And next time you breathe in, reach your arms up and back over the head. And when you breathe out, bring the arms all the way back down. And if you need to move a little bit to make space, then you can do that. We'll do this a few times. So nice and easy, lift the arms up and over the head as you breathe in. And as you breathe out, bring them back down. Good. And just take that a few more times and start to feel into the arms, the shoulders. And see if you can let yourself get a little bit absorbed in the motion. So you might like to notice the feeling of the touch of air through the hands, through the fingers, or maybe the movement through the shoulder joint as you move. Just take that 1 or 2 more times. Good. And the next time the arms come down, you can just pause where you are. Okay. Good. And then hug the knees in towards the chest. And then just start to roll gently from side to side. So you're kind of massaging out the pelvis. And again, if your head is lifting off the ground, if you can't comfortably get your head on the ground, then you can just put the head on something, cushion or block. And just starting to become absorbed in this movement. And then take each hand to each knee. So right hand on right knee, left hand on left knee. And then start to draw the knees away from one another and then bring them back together. So little circles through each of the knees. So knees come apart, knees come back together. Just take that a few more times. And you can start to increase the movement, increase the motion a little bit as you begin to warm up. Just tuning into the sensations through the legs. And then go ahead and change the direction of the circles. So knees together, knees wide. And as you move through this little movement, I'd like you to just notice where the mind is going, what the mind is doing. So it might be that you're thinking about what you're going to do next in this class, or the way that your week is going to unfold. Or perhaps thinking about things that have already happened. And if you find that that's happening, just acknowledge that that's what you're thinking about. That's where the mind is going. Good. And then come back to stillness and just give the knees a little bit of a squeeze here. So you get a little bit tighter. And then roll over to one side. So you come all the way over to one side. So resting in the fetal position, you might come off your mat. Good. And then make your way over to your hands and knees. So just press up and come onto all fours. So if you've got a mat, now might be a good time to just fold it over. So you make a little extra cushion for yourself, for your knee. You might like to do that. You might not. Good. And just make sure you've got enough space between your hands and feet. So your wrists are right under your shoulders and your knees are right under your hips. Just spread the fingers out nice and wide. And we're going to start to move through cat-cow here. So the motion first and then the breath. So the first movement is you're going to start to lift the tailbone, drop the belly and lift the chest. So you come into a little back bend. And then do the opposite. So start to send the tailbone down towards the ground and round the spine so it's curving up. Relax the head. Yeah. And then keep going. So lift the tailbone, drop the belly, lift the chest. And then tailbone sort of swings down to between your legs and the head relaxes. Good. And then keep going like this, or start to link the movement with the breath. So as you breathe in, you come into the back bend, lift the chest. And as you breathe out, you start to round the spine and relax the head. Good. Just a few more times here. So breathing in, tailbone lifts up. So the tailbone's the very, very bottom of the spine. Breathing out, rounding the back. And you can close the eyes. Keep moving, just noticing the shape that you're making with the body as you move. And doing your best to link the movement with the breath. Or just noticing the movement through the spine, flexing and extending the spine. Okay, good. And then we're going to come back into child's pose for a moment. So take the big toes together, knees wide, and start to lower the hips back to or towards your heels. And then walk the hands a little bit further forward so your arms are nice and straight. Forehead comes down. And just notice the breath. Notice the breath as the chest sort of expands against the thigh. You'd feel free to support the head or the hips on something. Good. And then let's come all the way back up to hands and knees from here. And this time we're going to come into kind of half downward facing dog. Okay. So keep the knees where they are. So keep the knees under the hips, but just take your hands a big step forward. So keep them in line with the shoulders, but walk them forwards. Spread the fingers out wide. You might be feeling that this is a bit strong, a bit shaky, in which case drop your forearms towards the ground. Otherwise, keep them lifted. Spread the fingers out wide, and then you can bring the forehead to or towards the floor or onto a block or cushion. And if you're really, really open through the shoulders, you can think about bringing the chest and the chin down towards the ground. I'm not one of those people, so I'm not going to do that. And then again here, just noticing where the sensations are most kind of immediate in the body. So for me, it's actually my hands, and then a little bit in my shoulders as well, but that might be different for you. Just take one more breath here. Lovely. And then nice and easy, just pad your way back to your hands and knees. And then let's just shake out each of the wrists. So you can shake out the left wrist and then put the left hand down, shake out the right wrist, and then put the right hand down. Lovely. If you fold it over your mat, then unfold it. And then come back to your hands and knees. We're going to come into downward facing dog now and just hold for a few breaths. Okay, so tuck your toes under and then start to press the hips up and back so you can keep the knees bent. You're kind of making your body into a sort of inverted V shape. Yeah, so you can have both hands down on the floor. I'm tucking my top in, that's why I've only got one hand on the floor. Good. So relaxing the head, look to between your feet or to your shins. Lovely. And then we'll do that a few more times during the sequence. But for now, just begin to walk your feet up towards your hands. So you're going to come into a little forward fold here. So bend the knees, feet hip distance apart. Good. And you can either have your hands down on the floor, or if you can't quite reach the floor, have the fingertips on something. Good, that's very good, David. Lovely. And then you can take hold of your elbows, if you like, and just have a little rock from side to side. And again, here you can notice where the sensations are kind of strongest, where is vying for your attention. Might be the backs of the legs. If that's the case, bend the knees a little bit more, just ease off the stretch. Okay, and then release the hands back down. So the head's going to stay really heavy as we roll up to standing. So soft knees, rounding through the back. Keep looking down at the ground as you come up. Good. And when you come up to standing, lift the shoulders up towards the ears and then soften them back and down. Walk to the front of your mat if you're not already there. And then we'll do that a few more times. So just a few shoulder rolls. So as you breathe in, lift the shoulders up. As you breathe out, shoulders go back down. 2 more times. So breathing in and breathing out. So as the shoulders soften down, they also go a little bit back. And 1 more time, big circle up towards the ears and then back and down. Good. Now let's do the whole arm. So as you breathe in, lift and reach your arms up. As you breathe out, Arms come down. So you can either circle the arms out. I've got lots of space, so I'm doing that. Or you can reach them straight out in front of you. Breathe in. And breathe out. Close the eyes and keep doing it. We'll do it a couple more times. So breathe in, lift, and reach the arms up. And breathe out. Good, last one. Breathing in. And breathing out. Good. And then just pause there for a moment. So stay standing at the top of your mat. You might find that you need to take extra breaths in the practice, yeah? Especially if you're newer to yoga, and that's fine. Yeah? And just try to keep your mouth shut if you can. If you've got hay fever, then don't worry. Okay. So I'll cue a breath pattern that works for me. And if you need to take extra breaths, that's completely fine. Okay, we're going to do a few sun salutations. We'll start with a half sun salutation. So, as you're ready, lift the arms up, breathing in. And then as you breathe out, you can bend the knees and fold all the way forward. So come back into that little forward fold. And then from here, take your hands up towards your shins. Lift and lengthen the spine, straighten the arms and look forwards. Bit of a mouthful. Breathe out, fold forwards again. We'll do it again. Good. And then come all the way up to standing. Lift your arms up, look up. And then breathe out, bring the arms back down. Good. Again, just like that. So as you breathe in, lift your arms up. And breathe out, fold forwards. Take the hands down to the mat. Good. So come up halfway, lift the chest, look forwards. And then breathe out, folding forwards. Relax the head. Good. Breathing in, lift and reach your arms up. Good. Breathing out, arms come back down. Good. We're going to add downward facing dog now. So as you breathe in, lift and reach your arms up. And breathe out, folding forwards, hands to the ground. Come halfway up as you breathe in, lengthen. Good, and then bend the knees, take the hands down to the ground and take a step back into downward facing dog. And just do whatever it takes to get there. Good, and then you can either stay still or you can cycle the legs. So you can bend into one knee, then the other. You can let the hips sway a little bit side to side. You can let the head nod. Good. And then next time you breathe in, look forwards. Breathe out and step or walk to the front of the mat. Hands on shins, lifting the chest, looking forwards. Lovely. And then fold forwards, relaxing the head. Good. Press the feet into the floor, lift your arms up, look up. Good. And then breathe out, bring the arms back down. Good. Okay, let's do one of those again. So as you breathe in, lift your arms up. And breathe out, circle the arms down, fingertips to the floor. Take the hands onto the shins, look up, lengthen the spine. And then take the hands down to the ground and take a big step back. Downward facing dog. So pressing the hands into the ground. If you need to come to hands and knees for a moment, then you can do that. And just again, notice where in the body the sensations are most sort of immediate. And just noticing. You can notice if you've stopped breathing. Let's all take one more breath in. Look forwards, breathe out and walk or step to the front of the mat. Nice. Come halfway up as you breathe in. So hands on shins, lengthen the spine. And then breathing out, folding forwards, relax the head. Lovely. And then press the feet into the floor. Lift your arms up, look up. Good. And then as you breathe out, arms come all the way back down. Good. And then let's take a big step out to the side. So you've got 2 straight legs, and we're going to do some standing postures from here. Okay, so look at your right foot, and then turn your right toes out towards the right side. Yeah? So the toes are pointing towards the short edge of your mat, and then turn your left foot a little bit in. So you've got quite a big space between your 2 feet. I'm going to come into warrior 2 from here. So go ahead and bend your right knee and lift your arms out to the sides. So arms are parallel with the ground. Look over your right middle finger. Good, so that back leg is nice and straight. Front knee bends over front ankle. Let's take a few more breaths here. And so keeping strong through the legs, pressing into the feet. Good. And then from there, straighten your front legs. So you've got 2 straight legs again. Shuffle the back toes a little bit further in. Not much, just a little bit. Good. And then we're going to come into triangle pose from here. So start to reach the right arm forwards, lengthen the right side of the waist, and then take the right hand down to the right shin. Lift and reach the left arm up towards the ceiling. Good. So 2 straight legs, pressing the feet into the ground, spread the toes. And then lift and reach the top arm up. Look up towards the top thumb. So a few more breaths here, just noticing the sensations through the body, through the legs. Good. And then pressing into both of your feet, come all the way back up and change sides. So turn your right toes in, turn the left toes out. We'll come into triangle first. So 2 straight legs, reach towards the left-hand side and then tip down. Left hand comes onto your left shin, right arm reaches up towards the ceiling, and turn the chest a little bit around towards the ceiling. Well, you might be practicing outside, so maybe it's up towards the sky. Good, just noticing the breath. Noticing if your mind is wandering off here. So doing your best to kind of anchor your awareness in the body. Nice, and then pressing into both of your feet, coming all the way back up, arms out wide. You might want to lengthen out the stance a little bit. And then go ahead and bend your left knee. So we're looking to get the thigh parallel to the ground, the left thigh. I might not actually be doing that myself. I find this a really hard pose and I don't like it very much. In fact, I often get quite angry when teachers make me do it in class. So there you go. So if you're finding it a bit difficult, you're not the only one. So try to keep the arms at shoulder height, even that back arm that you might not be able to see. Yeah, so see if you can imaginatively kind of sense the fingertips in space. Good, and just stay here for a couple more breaths. Good, very, very nice. So straighten the front leg a little bit and then windmill your hands down to frame your front foot and draw back into downward facing dog from here. Really, really nice. Good, and then here, let's pull forward. So take the shoulders over the wrists, come high up onto the tiptoes, take the knees to the ground, and lower the body all the way down to the floor. Hands underneath your shoulders, tops of the feet pressed down. So you're just going to lift up a little bit into a really low back bend. So roll the shoulders back, hug the elbows in, and lift the chest. But if you lifted your hands away from the floor, you wouldn't move. Yeah, so if you're like this, you're up a little bit too high for today. And then just shake the head side to side. So easing off tension on the back of your neck. And just close your eyes and notice how your back body feels. Good, and then take the elbows out to the side. Make a pillow of your palms and rest the forehead on your hands. And just taking a couple of longer, deeper breaths. Yeah, so one of the things that can happen when we're meditating a lot is that our shoulders really round forwards. Yeah. So one of the things that yoga can do is just to help counter that. Good. So this time, take the arms back behind you. And if you can catch a hold of your fingers with your arms straight, so you can thread the fingers through, interlace the fingers. And again, just lift the chest up a little bit. If it doesn't work for you to have the fingers interlaced, then release the hands, just have the palms facing each other, and then lift the legs a little bit as well. And look down towards the ground, so you're not kind of cranking on the back of your neck. Couple of breaths here. If you're feeling it just in your lower back, ease off a little bit. Good, and then when you're ready, come all the way down, hands underneath your shoulders, tuck your toes, and draw back into downward facing dog. Spread the fingers out wide, and just feel the body, feel into your body. Good, and then from here, bend your knees and walk your hands back towards your feet. So you come back into a little forward fold. Good. And then roll all the way up to standing. Good, I'm going to turn to face the camera. Let's do a little bit of balancing from here. Okay, so start in mountain pose, which is just, well, it's just standing with awareness. So spreading the toes out, pressing the feet down into the ground, and then have this sense of kind of lifting up through the sternum, the front of the chest, and the lengthening out through the back of the neck and crown of the head. So we've got this sense of being tall. Yeah? Get a little bit taller. Good. And then from there, so press your right foot down into the ground, and then bring your left knee in towards your chest. So you can thread the fingers through, or you can have the hand around the back of the thigh. Try to gaze at one spot, so try not to look too much at your screen if you can, or just try to guide you through it. Okay, so pressing that right foot down to the ground, and then start to take your left knee out towards the left side. So you can have your right hand on your right hip, and if you're wobbling, that's fine, that's normal. It means you've got reflexes, and they're very good. Okay, so let's come into tree pose. So either take the sole of your foot, the sole of your left foot, onto your calf, or use your left hand to take it onto the inner thigh. And if you're wobbling about, then that's fine. Just come back in when you can. If you're steady, take the hands together in front of the chest. Ooh. And keep lengthening up through the midline. If you're really stable, you can lift your arms up. Okay, keep pressing that at the base of the right big toe down into the ground. Lovely. And then bring the left knee in towards the chest. And then everything comes back down. Come back to standing in mountain pose. And just feel your two legs. You might like to shake out your right leg a little bit. But just notice how, how different they might feel. Mine definitely feel very different from one another right now. Okay, so second side. Press the left toes down. Hug your right knee in. And even here, try to draw the shoulders a little bit back. Try to lengthen out through the back of the neck. Lovely. And then, so you can take your left hand onto your left hip. Right knee goes a little bit out towards the right side. Keep lengthening both sides of the waist. Lovely. And then sole of the foot, sole of the right foot comes onto the calf or to the inner thigh. And try to create a bit of resistance there. So press the foot into the thigh, but also press the thigh into the foot. Hands together in prayer. Lovely. Fix the gaze on a point in front of you that's not moving. So not another person. Good. And then lift the arms if you feel steady. Good. Lengthen. And press your left foot down into the ground. Lovely. And then right knee comes into chest. Everything comes down. Well done. And if you want to, you can shake out the left leg a little bit. Good. Okay, so that's all the standing we're going to do for today. Come down to seated. And we'll just do a couple of seated postures here and then lie down and have Shavasana. Okay? So let's start by coming into a twist. So legs in a position that works for you. They can be crossed or you can even have them out long. It really doesn't matter. So take your left hand onto your right leg somewhere. So if the legs are crossed, it can come onto the knee. And then take your right fingertips to the ground behind you. And then start to turn the chest around towards your right. Yeah, so it's a spinal twist. We're looking for a sense of rotation through the spine. Yeah, just take a few breaths here, and you might feel that on your out breaths, you can come a little bit more into the twist, but don't crank on it. Be gentle with yourselves. Good. And then look forwards, derotate, and come to the second side. So right hand across, left fingertips to the ground. Yeah, and just notice how much effort you're making. So I remember when I first started yoga quite a few years ago, this sense that I needed to be making maximum effort all the time. And I mean, it is very hard when you first start. But if you can, just see if you can ease off some of the effort. So if you're really, really desperately pressing yourself around into a twist, just see what it might feel like to relax the effort. You probably won't spring out of the twist, you know? You'll stay in the twist. Good. And then come all the way back to center. Lovely. And then into a sidewards bend. So right hand out towards your right side, so away from the right hip. Both hips pressing down towards the ground. Left arm reaches up towards the ceiling or sky, and then lean over to your right. Yeah, if you've got a lot of range of motion, you can take your right forearm to the ground. But if in so doing, you roll off to your right, then just re-straighten the elbow. Good. And then come all the way back through center and take it over to the second side. So left hand to step out from your left hip, right arm reaches up, and then lean over. So you're kind of willowing into it. Look a little bit down. And just feel into your body, feel into that right side waist. Good. And then come all the way back through center. Okay, and then one more time, shrug the shoulders back and interlace the fingers behind you. And then straighten the arms, start to stretch the knuckles back. So lifting through the chest. Good. And then a little bit of a sense of broadening across your collarbones. And then you might just like to very, very gently semicircle your chin, your head from side to side. Good. And then release. And come down onto your backs. You can keep the soles of the feet down on the ground. We'll come into a twist in a moment, but first, just rolling down onto the ground. So the same way that we started the class, the same way that you started to move, Just notice how it feels now. So you can close the eyes. You might like to feel the breath again. Take the hands onto the belly. And just feel what you can feel in the body. Feel the breath. Good. And then we're going to come into a twist to close. So you can take the arms out wide in a kind of T shape. If you don't have enough space to do that, then you can bend your elbows. Good. And then bring your knees into the chest without using your arms. And just move the hips an inch or so towards your right. So just the hips are moving first. And then take your knees over towards your left. Okay? So if your knees don't comfortably come down to the ground, then you can place a cushion between your knees, but try to have them tucked quite close in towards the body. So not like this. This isn't a particularly good position for your spine. So knees quite close in towards the body. Shoulders nice and soft on the ground. So let the ground take your weight. And just take a couple of deeper breaths. You might like to let the head roll towards the right, so in the opposite direction of your knees. Good, and then when you're ready, come through center and shift your hips the other way. So your hips are going to shift towards your left. Pick up your props if you've got props, and then take your knees down towards your right. And again, you can roll your between the knees as well. You can allow the eyes to fall closed. Good, and then come all the way through center. Hug the knees in. Rock a little bit side to side. And then one by one, straighten the legs out in front of you. Take the arms out wide, so coming to lie down on your backs, eyes closed. And see if you can start to notice. So notice what it feels like to lie here. Feeling the points of contact between the body and the ground. And as you lie here, there may be some parts of the body that are vying for your attention, where the sensations are a little bit more present. Maybe through the palms of the hands or the face. See if you can start to stretch out your awareness to encompass more and more of the body, more and more of the mind. Now, if you can stay here for a little bit longer, then I really do encourage you to do that. If it's time for you to move on, then you can start to just ease your way up into a seated position and just take your time to get there. And if you're coming up to seated, you can let the eyes fall closed for a moment. Just allowing the body to absorb the effects of the practice. And then opening the eyes. Good. So if you're still lying down, just close your laptop and continue Shavasana and continue lying down. Otherwise, yeah, so thank you so much for joining the class. It's really, really nice to have so many of you here practicing. So if you're on the summer retreat, then you've got a few hours to recoup until what's next? The study seminar at 3:30 with Satyadasa. And if you're not already signed up to the summer retreat, then I do recommend that you do so. Yeah, I do recommend that you sign up for that. And there's details on how to do that underneath this video. So I just wanted to say one more thing, which is it's so wonderful to be on retreat with so many of you, and we're so appreciative of of the fact that we're not alone in wanting to create this really ambitious community of practitioners who are practicing all over the world, yeah? All over the UK and all over the world. But we can't do that without your support. So if you're in a position to give, to the London Buddhist Centre, then your donations are greatly, greatly appreciated. And if you're on the retreat as part of another sangha, so the Sheffield, the Brixton, Dublin, or Cambridge sangha, then give to them. And David will post in the chat details on how to give and who to give to. So yes, I think I'll leave it there. Thank you very much, everybody. Go and enjoy your lunch now. And yeah, there's restorative yoga every afternoon at 5:15 this week on Zoom. And I'll be back on Wednesday for another yoga class at lunchtime. Okay, bye everyone.